أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى يوم الدين. We have reached the month of Rajab, the month that we call Rajab al-Asab, meaning that the favors of God pours down for us, inshallah, during this month. This is the month of God, as in the traditions we have. This is the month of remembering Ahlul Bayt, alayhim salam, and doing ziyarat of Ahlul Bayt. We have from the beginning of the month of Rajab to recite the ziyarat of Imam Hussein. We have also in this month the waladat of Imam Ali alayhi salam, the Bi'tha of the Holy Prophet of Islam. And also we had during this week the martyrdom of Imam Hadi alayhi salam, the 10th successor of the Holy Prophet of Islam. Therefore, we're going to dedicate tonight's majlis to Imam Hadi alayhi salam and ask inshallah maybe that his remembrance and having majalis for him, maybe inshallah we'll be invited to Sameera to visit him, and that inshallah we will be granted his shafa'at in the hereafter. Imam Hadi alayhi salam was born in 212, so about 200 years after the Holy Prophet of Islam's demise. Imam Hadi alayhi salam was born in about 254 in the Islamic lunar calendar, was martyred. So he was an imam at the age of around 7 or 8. And also he was an imam for about 34 years. Even though he was an imam at such a young age, it did not cause much questions, because Imam Jawad alayhi salam was an imam at an earlier age. Therefore, the questions about can someone be an imam at such a young age was resolved at that time. Imam Hadi alayhi salam was born in Medina, and one of the great, besides the narrations that we have, and besides the sayings and the debates that he had, and all the, alhamdulillah, great work that Imam Hadi alayhi salam did to preserve Shiism, we have Ziyarat al-Jami'a al-Kabira from him. One of the great ziyarats that when asked to allow me in a way to mention and to complete a ziyarat, to be able to speak to Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam in a complete way, the Imam teaches them this ziyarat, which is an encyclopedia of Imamat, if we really study this ziyarat. Tonight we're going to be learning about the life of Imam Hadi alayhi salam through this ziyarat. And I recommend for you, during the month of Rajab, which is the month of ziyarat of Ahlul Bayt, that even though I know it is difficult, and some of us maybe had ziyarat plans and they have been canceled because of the situation that we're in, to from afar you could do ziyarat of all the infallibles, basically the imams, together with a ziyarat al-Jami'a al-Kabira. Imam Hadi alayhi salam, besides the ziyarat, he had a very large network of Shias, and from around the Islamic world, from Iran, Iraq, possibly Egypt, Yemen. You see a system of wakalat that he had, and scholars and followers. So we're going to be talking about the life of Imam Hadi alayhi salam in light of Ziyarat Jami' Kabira. One of the lines that we read in this ziyarat, we read that it says, Kalamukum nur wa amrukum rushd. Your speech is light, your commands are guidance. Wa wasiyatukum taqwa, your advice is God consciousness. Wa fi'lakum khair, and your actions are good. And wa adatukum al-ihsan, and your habit is kindness. Wa sajiyatukum al-karam, and your disposition is benevolence. Therefore, we see that Imam Hadi alayhi salam, not only is he teaching us this ziyarat, but he is the perfect example of this. He is the perfect example that when we say kalamukum nur, your speech Ahlul Bayt is nur and light, he is the best example of this. Brothers and sisters, we live in a time period that many people talk and there's much speech, and we read a lot. And because we have devices, it's so easy to gain access to different types of information and different things. But I advise you and myself to spend more time reading the Quran and the Hadith, because this is light. This is speech that is from revelation and from the successors of the Holy Prophet of Islam. Kalamukum light, your speech is light. We have a tradition from Imam Rida alayhi salam, that if people were to know the beauty of our speech, they would follow us. So therefore, why do we waste time reading other speech when we still haven't read all these hadith that are available for us? Alhamdulillah, a lot of them are being translated. My biggest recommendation to you is to look at the book, The Skill of Wisdom, Mizan al-Hikmah. And it is online, or you can purchase it. The 1-volume version, the original is, I believe, 10 volumes. And you could look at the hadith. The English version, the concise version, has about 7,000 hadith in different topics. So spend time reading the hadith. Let's look at one hadith from Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. This is from Tuhaf al-Uqul. And we understand, how is the speech of the Imam light? How does it give light? Light is guidance. Light gives you direction. Light, when you have light and you're not in darkness, you're not confused anymore. It tells you where you need to go. The hadith is this: ad-dunya suq. The dunya is a place of a marketplace, you could say, a place of trade. Today we have many large institutions or many large centers of trade. One of those is, say, for example, the New York Stock Exchange. And you see how much trading is happening in such a day. Rabiha fiha qawmun. On that day, or in that marketplace, a group of people, they become rich. They have a profit, as you see in the stocks. Every day, one person, their stock goes up, and another group, their stock goes down. Rabiha fiha qawmun makhasira akharun. And in another group, they lose. So Imam Hadi alayhi salam very beautifully in this hadith gives us guidance, gives us nur that we need, that the world that you live in, this world is a marketplace, that you are supposed to come to this world to gain profit. Nobody wants to lose anything. And just as you see a businessman, or investor, every day he looks at how much he gained. Every month he looks at their income statement. Each quarter they look at their what they did. And every year they look. We also at the same time have to be analyzing ourselves in terms of gain and in terms of loss. So we have a capital. What is gained? What is purchased? If we say this is a suq, this is a marketplace. In a marketplace, something is bought, something is sold, right? You use something to trade. You use dollars, or you use, I don't know, whatever you use, bitcoins, I don't know. You use a certain form of currency or something to trade. You give something and then you receive something. That is trade. And hopefully for both buyer and seller, it's something good. But what do we have in place to go to this bazaar or go to the suq? We have capital, and our capital is our life. We have 70 years, 80 years, 100 years, inshallah you live 200 years of life that is available for us. And we're supposed to exchange this life and get something in return. We're supposed to go to the suq and build our akhirah for ourselves, build the satisfaction and contentment of God for us. We look at Lady Khadija, the wife of the Holy Prophet of Islam. She was a billionaire, one of the richest ladies. Thousands of camels, caravans that would go out around the world to trade. And she gave it all. This is the capital she had. She had her life. She gave her wealth, whatever she had for the Prophet of Islam, for the message of Islam. And what did she return at the end? That Allah was happy with her. She became one of the 4 main ladies of the world, the highest station, the best of ladies. So she traded this for that. And then it says also in the traditions, not only that, in the hereafter, her home will be made of rubies. So this is what she gained. But if somebody goes to the marketplace and exchanges the 70, 80 years of life, and instead has nothing in return. Imagine you go right now with a large sum of money, you go to the marketplace and you lose your money, you lost it, or someone steals it from you, you don't know what happened. And you come back, they say, what did you buy from the marketplace? And they say, nothing. I lost it all. They'll say they'll say something to you. I don't know. They'll say something to you, and you say, why did you do this? You're basically, they'll say you're a loser. You lost all your money. But I have a question for you, brothers and sisters. Is this the worst scenario, or something else can be worse than this? Yes, something else can be worse. That is that if we take that capital, we go to the souk, we take that capital, and in return, we purchase hellfire, we purchase torment, we purchase corruption, we bring ourselves down lower, we make ourselves more insufficient, we make ourselves towards naqs. What happens then? Then we are the true losers. We are, you say, you went to the bazaar, not you paid money. Imagine you pay some guy and to whip you, to hit you, to burn you, to chastise you. And that is what this world is. You have capital and you're supposed to gain good things from it. Either some of us, we lose that entire capital, that's something else. And some of us, with this time that we have, we purchase the hellfire. So we understand beautifully that from this tradition, that the Imams are giving us light to be very careful. That every day you live, there's a transaction that's happening. There's business being done. We're all businessmen if you really think of it. Every day you have 24 hours. And I ask you today, right now, what did you gain today in the last 24 hours? You had 24 hours. What did you gain? Did you read something? Did you read the Quran? Did you read something from Ahl al-Bayt? This is the month of Rajab. Did you help anybody out? Every ma'aruf, any act of goodness, of kindness, the Imam say is sadaqah. Did you help someone out? How was your akhlaq? Good akhlaq also removes the punishment, it removes the sins. How was our akhlaq today? How was our relationship with God? So therefore, if somebody in the tradition we have, their 2 days are equal to each other, then they are maqboon, they are at loss. They are lost at this, this marketplace. And whoever's 2 days are worse, then they are mal'oon, they are cursed. So we have to be very careful, and we learn from Imam Hadi alayhi salam that we have a very limited time. We don't know when this market's going to end, for us, and they put us in the grave. But we really don't know. And we wish, believe me, brothers and sisters, all of us wish that we had done more. When you see, one of the names of the hereafter is also Yawmun Hasra, the day of regret. You wish, even though you have a lot, you wish you would have gained more. You wish you would have even come back to this world and said one more La ilaha illallah. So this is the first thing that we understand from the ziyarat attributed to Imam Hadi. Kalamukum nur. Your light is guidance. It teaches us. Imagine a group of people the blessings that we have with Islam, that you come to this world and you really don't know what to do. You don't even know if there's a purpose in life. Imagine, one of the worst chastisements is not knowing, is being in doubt. And one of the best feelings is the feeling of certainty and the feeling and understanding of knowing what to do. The Imam is telling you what to do. So inshallah we can act upon this. We have also amrukum rushd, that the commands of you, Ahl al-Bayt, alayhim as-salam, is rushd. Rushd means guidance, as we have irshad. It means guidance. Your commands guide people. Your commands take people and they take them into completion because they are the commands of God. I'm going to give you the example of one person and one companion of the Imam. Ya'qub ibn Ishaq Ahwazi was a great companion of Imam Jawad and Imam Hadi alayhi salam. And they are the example of amrukum rushd, that your commands and what you teach basically causes guidance. Look at what position Ibn Sikit, his name is also titled Ibn Sikit, meaning the son of the silent one. His father was silent, he did not speak much, and so he's called Ibn Sikit. Ibn Sikit was a great lexicographer, Islamic scientist, and a companion of the Imams. Ibn Sikit was also a teacher of Mutawakkil, one of the brutal Abbasids, and his teacher, a teacher of his sons, Mu'taz Billah and Mu'ayyad Billah. And we understand that, Mutawakkil was a very brutal person. He asked one day Ibn Sikit, this companion of Imam Hadi, who's has a higher position? Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, say Hassan and Hussein, or my two sons, Mu'taz and Mu'ayyad? Who's higher? And imagine, we don't understand the context of being the most brutal of the Abbasids, either killing or imprisoning. Therefore, it's very hard for us to understand, but Ibn Sikit had to choose what to do, what to say. And he gives a remarkable reply, and it shows the courage that he had, and it showed the amount of guidance that he had. And the highest level of guidance of Tawheed is that a person doesn't fear anybody but Allah. So he says, not only in the books of history, don't mention basically Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein. Talk about Qambar, the slave of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Qambar is better than your two sons. Not Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein. Qambar is better than your two sons. And this upsets Mutawakkil so much that he takes his tongue and rips it from the back of his head. So therefore we understand from such sayings of Zyara Jami Kabir Amrukum Rushd, that your sayings are guidance, that Imam Ali al-Naqi developed such companions like, you can say Hujr ibn Adi or other companions like Maytham al-Tammar. And don't ask why did they not do taqiyya. The Imams know when to teach their students to do taqiyya and when not to do taqiyya, because if a person does not protect themselves and do not do taqiyya, then dissimulation, then they don't have religion. So obviously Ibn Sikit knew when to do taqiyya, when not to do taqiyya. Obviously Maytham al-Tammar knew when to do taqiyya, when not to do taqiyya. Because for them, if they didn't say something, they're not like ordinary people. When they make a stance, it causes strength in the Shias. If they did not say something, then it would cause the Shiism to become weak. So each person has their own duty. Wasiyyatukum at-taqwa we have in Zyara Jami'a, that your advice is God consciousness. The advice that Imam Hadi alayhi salam would give and what he did in general, or we can say فَعْلَكُمُ الْخَيْرِ, and your actions are good. Their actions are good, their advice are taqwa. One of the first things that Imam Hadi did when he came to Samarra and he was forced to come to Samarra, he lived during the time of 6 khulafa from Bani Abbas, al-Mu'tasam, al-Wathiq, al-Mutawakkil, al-Muntasir, al-Musta'in, and al-Mu'taz. During the time of Mutawakkil, when he was invited to come, and it was a forced invitation, he could not reject. The first thing that Imam Hadi alayhi salam did, one of the first things that he did in the first year that he did, was he went and did ziyarah of Imam Ali. He visited Imam Ali, and it was on the day of Ghadir Khum, the Eid. So we see that Imam Hadi alayhi salam also has a very lengthy ziyarah for Imam Ali. And he taught the world about Imam Ali, and he taught the Shias about Imam Ali. This is how you do ziyarah. Not only did he give a very complete and teach a complete ziyarah of al-Jami'a for all the Imams, but also for Imam Ali. And in this is the sentence, peace be upon you, the guardian of Allah, to Imam Ali. I witness that you are the first who were wronged. You are awwal mazlum. You are the first that was wrong, and your right was exalted. But you were patient, and you expected until certainty came to you. I witnessed that you met Allah and you were a martyr. May Allah torture your killers with all the kinds of torment and repeat punishment for them. So you see a very direct way that Imam Hadi alayhi salam, and I could say a very clever way also, of bringing and honoring these signs of God, the shrines of the Ahlul Bayt, or the sha'a'ir of Allah. Hajj is a sha'a'ir of Allah in the Quran, but it's not only related, anything that has to do with religion is a symbol of God. And the Imams did ta'zeem, and they honored the signs of God. Imam Hadi alayhi salam comes and honors the shrine of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, and does this and teaches this great ziyarat of Imam Adi on the day of Ghadir. Imam Hadi alayhi salam is sick and sends people that are not infallible, sends people and pays for them to go and visit the shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And the companions are confused. They're saying that the Imam himself is a shrine. How can he go to the shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and ask for something to happen while he himself is a shrine? He has the position of a shrine. And he mentions, and it says in the books, that Allah has some places that He likes to be worshipped in, and al-Ha'ir, that they send somebody to the shrine of Imam Hussein, is one of those places. He wants to get his shafa and become cured from the shrine of Imam Hussein. He wants to do ta'zeem and honor the shrine of Imam Hussein. Why? Because Mutawakkil has destroyed the shrine of Imam Hussein 6 or 7 times. So therefore we see فَأَلَكُمُ الْخَيْرِ, their actions are khair, their wasiyah is taqwa, their giving of advice is taqwa, is God consciousness. The Imam is fighting against the Abbasids in this way, in this manner, because he didn't think it was appropriate to directly oppose them, to directly fight against them. Also, we see other actions of the Imam, and from Ziyarat al-Jami'a. Adatakum al-ihsan. Your habits are compassion, Ahlul Bayt. If you truly understand the Ahlul Bayt, you really understand how compassionate they were. It's very good to be emotional. It's very good to be caring. And of course, as long as you're guided with the aql and intellect, it's very good. It's very good to be soft-hearted and not to only give your benevolence and give your compassion to only your family members, to everybody, to strangers, and to non-Shia, non-followers, non-Muslims. وَسَجِيَّتُكُمُ الْكَرَمْ, and your nature is generosity. Really, we're trying to think, how come the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam were so generous, so compassionate? How did people end up killing them and martyring them? How did they ended up becoming victims of violence, victims of poison, with such compassion? I'm going to give a story, and that is the story of Yusuf ibn Yaqub, to illustrate how important the compassion and generosity of Imam Hadi alayhi salam was. This is in the book of Khara'ij. Al-Khara'ij is a book by Qutb al-Rawandi. He's buried here in the city of Qom. And Qutb al-Rawandi mentions the miracles of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam in his book Khara'ij, and also other books like Ithbatul Huda also mentioned the miracles of the Ahlul Bayt. Brothers and sisters, first of all, before we say these stories, it's very important and incumbent upon us to understand the powers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Many people, when they approach the Holy Quran, some people, they don't understand the Quran is full of miracles. How can Musa alayhi salam divide a sea? How can his staff turn into a snake? In terms of science, it's problematic. They don't understand how they can transform. It's not, we're not rejecting the law of causality. We're saying there is a cause for this, we just don't know the cause. We're not denying causality. But some people, they approach the Quran and they want to justify all those miraculous actions by how Prophet Jesus alayhi salam, which is one of the great prophets, that his life was full of miracles. And I truly believe that when Christians become Muslim, it's very easy for them to understand the position of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, because they have read about and learned about the miracles of Jesus. Therefore, they understand how a perfect human being can have these powers. When you look at Prophet Isa, his birth, to be born without a father. Can you show me a higher miracle than this? To be born without a father, is it scientifically possible? We say that, there is another means that we just don't know because the world is more mysterious than we understand. But if you approach the Quran and you want to, approach it in a way of just a materialist, then you're going to miss out and misunderstand the Quran. Also, when it comes to Ahlul Bayt, if you want to limit them as normal people, you're going to get yourself into trouble. If you're going to take away the miracles of the Ahlul Bayt from them, you're going to run into problems. Maybe we say the Quran guides us towards imamat, and maybe we can say the Quran has so many miracles in it, and miraculous events from Prophet Isa, Prophet Musa to non-prophets, and giving information of the unseen, people that were not prophets, like the wife of Prophet Ibrahim the mother of Musa or Bilqis bringing the throne of Sheba in a blink of an eye. Non-prophets are having this type of walayat and miraculous events so that we can understand that when the imams come, and to understand this is the capability of the complete human being. The human being has this capability, and there's nothing to doubt whatsoever. In this month, in the month of Rajab, we also understand at the same time that there are du'as that we have. In the month of Rajab, one of the du'as is from, to prove this point before the story, is from Muhammad ibn Uthman al-Amri, which was the second deputy during the time of Imam Mahdi. The first deputy was Uthman ibn Seyed, the second was his son. And there were also, Uthman was a companion of Imam Hassan Askari as well. We see a tradition from him in Shaykh al-Tusi. It's very important that dua that we learn, what book is it from? Not necessarily, but it gives us more encouragement. You'll still be rewarded, inshallah, even if that dua is weak and you act upon it. Allah, inshallah, will still give you that reward. But you see that Shaykh al-Tusi, around 1,000 years ago on Misbah al-Mutahajjid, brings a dua in the month of Rajab. And this dua, there has been commentary on this line from Ayatollah Jawad al-Amali and different ulama, different grades. About this line in the dua. Dua is this. It says that it came from Muhammad ibn Uthman min al-Nahiya al-Muqaddasa. Al-Nahiya al-Muqaddasa means the sacred zone, the protected zone. Where is the sacred zone? As-Samarra, the city of Samarra, which where Imam Hadi, Imam Hassan Askari, and Imam Mahdi lived. So when you see a tradition from al-Nahiya al-Muqaddasa, know that it is from one of the imams, one of these three imams. But because it is the time of Muhammad ibn Uthman, you understand it is from a letter, or this is from what he has learned from Imam Mahdi. So it's attributed to the 12th imam. Just how ad-dua al-iftitah that we read in Shahr Ramadan is from, I also believe it's from Muhammad ibn Uthman, also from al-Nahiya al-Muqaddasa, from Imam Mahdi. So we see in this dua, this thing, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we have to do this dua fi kulli yawmin min ayyam al-Rajab. And in this dua that we said, Shaykh al-Tusi brings it, and it's from Muhammad ibn Uthman and from Nahi al-Muqaddasa, this line, to understand the wilayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, la farqa baynaka wa baynahum. It is a line that sometimes I was asked, it's hard for me to read this dua. It's hard for me to read this line. La farq baynaka wa baynahum illa annahum ibaduk wa khalquk. There is no difference between you and them. There's no difference between God and Ahlul Bayt except this. Illa annahum, the Ahlul Bayt are ibaduk wa khalquk. They are your slaves, they are your servants, and they are your creation. So what does this line mean before we understand the story from the Christian and Imam Hadi alayhi salam? We understand that there's no difference. So first of all, there's comparison, and then there's separation. As Ayatollah Jawad al-Amali first states, though, this isn't comparison in the thought of God, in the essence of God. Because in the essence of God, laysa kamithlihi shay. Nothing is like him when it comes to the divine essence. Nothing, absolutely nothing is like God. So of course, this isn't about his essence. This comparison that there's no difference between you and God is, he says, in al-fi'l, in action. Meaning that whatever God is capable of doing, istiqlalan, the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam can do tabi'atan, following and by permission of a God, they can do the same thing. That God's power is independent. His walayat at-takwini, his walayat over the world is independent. He does not need to get permission from anyone. But can God give power to others, angels, to humans, to others, to be able to do miraculous things? Yes, of course he can. The Quran is full of it. Look at the story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Khidr. Look at how much knowledge, of future knowledge Khidr has. So he gives by permission, without takwini. One of the instances is knowledge. He gives this knowledge, not istiqlalan to Khidr, but he gives it by permission to Khidr, for example. And many of the miraculous events that happened, the Prophet Isa alayhi salam, for example, cured the sick, that he gave life to the dead in the Quran, or he gave information about what's in their homes, what food they have in their homes. He said, I'll give you information of them. So this is following, we could say. This is, as we can say, in terms of fi'l, in that this is, taba'i, not istiqlali. This is by permission by God. So therefore, illa annahum ibaduk, no difference between Ahlul Bayt and God, not in terms of the essence, but in terms of action, meaning whatever God is capable of, the Ahlul Bayt are capable of by God's permission and by God's will, not that they have a different will than Allah. And some of our greats say this: when you read this Zyara, read this dua, and you understand this law from this dua, that anything you see from the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam and miracles, you should not reject it. Because it says there's no difference between God and Ahlul Bayt, except they are your slaves and they are your creation, meaning that whatever power God has, the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam also can do with God's permission. So therefore, look at this story now, that this Christian that needs help, that Imam Hadi alayhi salam comes to him. So he comes, and Mutawakkil has a letter, and Mutawakkil summons this Christian. He was a revolter, or he had done something against Mutawakkil possibly, and he's very afraid. So he's wondering what to do. And he approaches Imam Hadi alayhi salam. He's a Christian. And brothers and sisters, as I said, the Christians, they relied on the Ahlul Bayt. Imam Hassan Askari has a statement that the Christians know more of our rights than the Muslims, than the followers of the system of caliphate. So he comes to Imam Hadi alayhi salam, and he wants to go to Sama al-Rab. He says, first I'll visit Imam Hadi, and I want to give him 100 dinars. Usually when we make a vow, we give it after that vow is done. Say, if I'm safe, nothing happens to me, then I'll give 100. You don't give it before. But he got afraid, because whoever visits Mutawakkil, there's either death, destruction, punishment, imprisonment. So he brings 100 dinars, around 100 gold coins, you could say, to Imam Hadi. He comes to Samirah, he's wondering, and this is in the book of al-Khara'ij of Qutur Rawandi. He comes and says, I'm wondering, where is his home? And he notices that he doesn't know where his home is, but his horse and the animal he is riding approaches a house. And then a man comes out and says, are you Yusuf ibn Yaqub, the Christian? And he replies to him, yes. And then he says, dismount, and he brings him into his home. So two signs, two miracles. One, his horse goes to the home, his animal goes to the home of Imam Hadi. Second, this person is coming and saying, are you Yusuf ibn Yaqub? Then he says the third thing, where are the 100 dinars? Where are the gold coins? And then Yusuf gives it to him. And Imam Hadi alayhi salam tells him, he looks at him kindly and compassionately. He said that, Sajiyatukum al-ihsanu, adatakum al-ihsan wa sajiyatukum al-karam. Your habits are compassion and your nature is generosity. He looks at him compassionately. He's not Muslim, but he looks at him compassionately. He's going to give him protection. And he tells him, he informs him that nothing will happen to you, basically. Nothing will, you'll be safe. Also informs him, but, and he tells him, is it not enough for you? The fact that, these three proofs, is this not enough for you to become Muslim, to become a follower of Ahlul Bayt? And he says, oh, my master, sufficient proof has appeared to me. This is sufficient. But he says, how far? You will not be Muslim, though. This is the fourth miracle. He says, you will not be Muslim, though. But your son will, and he will be of our Shia. Oh, Yusuf, there are some people claiming that our guardianship does not benefit ones like you. Some people think our wilayat will not benefit, some like you. Go to what you have come. You shall see what you like. And he goes, and exactly how the Imam says, nothing happens to Yusuf ibn Yaqub, even though he has these three, and then we could say 4 miracles, and later on he has a son, and his son becomes a Muslim, and his son used to say, I am the good tiding of my master. I'm from the Bisharat of my master. But he does not become Muslim. And this is the compassion of the Ahlul Bayt, that they will show signs because they called the Imam. He wanted and asked help from the Imam, and he gave him help, even though he later on, the Imam knew he would not become Muslim, and he never became Muslim, but his child did become Muslim. So we learn from this story, to wrap things up, that first of all, Ahlul Bayt are for everyone, Muslim, not Muslim. They are rahmatun lil alameen, how the Prophet was. They are rahmat and mercy for everyone. They're wasatatul faith. They're the medium of the grace of God. Second of all, we understand from this story that seeing the Imam, seeing miracles doesn't necessarily make us a believer. Don't be like those that say, I have to see miracles to believe. I will not be able to believe by the intellect. If you prove Islam from Quran and Sunnah, this is stronger than just seeing miracles with your eyes. Many people saw miracles, many people saw holy prophets, but they did not believe. What is important for us is that we take our religion intellectually. We look at our religion from the aql, we take our religion from Quran, we take our religion from hadith, and we take our religion by practicing Islam and getting our hearts ready to accept Islam. Islam is not only accepted by the mind, it has to be accepted by the heart. And if that heart, for whatever, we don't want to judge Yusuf ibn Yaqub, each person has their own issues and the way that they're brought up. Allah knows, and Allah will judge them. But each person has a capability of their heart. If they pollute that heart, if that heart is not purified, then it will not accept wilayat of the Ahlul Bayt, will not accept Islam. So we understood from this Zyara that Imam Hadi alayhi salam is a manifestation of Kalamakum Nur, his light, his speech is light, Amrukum Rushd, his commands are guidance, Wasiyatukum al-Taqwa, his instructions are taqwa and God consciousness, Fi'lakum khair, his actions are khair, are good, Adatukum al-Ihsan, his habits were compassion, Wasajiyatukum al-Kalam, and he was the example of generosity. But what did they do to this Madloom Imam? How did he become martyred? They gave him poison. They poisoned him. And the poison reacted inside the body of Imam Hadi. Violent pains attacked him. Death approached him quickly. When he felt the inevitable death, he turned towards the Qibla and began reciting, in the books we have, the Quran. He breathed his last until the mention of Allah was still on his lips. His great pure soul ascended to the Creator, surrounded by angels. Imam Hassan Askari is now coming. We have in some of the tradition, he ripped open his shirt as a sign of mourning. He sends you condolences, Imam Mahdi, for the passing away of your grandfather. Your father, Imam Hassan Askari, washed the pure body of his father. He enshrouded it. He offered the prayers. Samira was shocked. People of all classes hurried to get and to honor the honor of escorting the pure body of the Imam. State officers' shops were closed because the Abbasids wanted to pretend that they were good with the Imam, even though they poisoned them. There was a splendid funeral in the city of Samarra like nobody had seen. The corpse, the pure body of Imam Hadi alayhi salam, with takbir and glorification, was assigned to the graveyard, to that house that became the graveyard of Imam Hadi, the same house that he lived. Imam Hassan Askari put the pure body of his father in the tomb. While his tears were flowing over his cheeks, he buried his father, buried him with the values of knowledge and patience and piety that he had. But no day is like the day of you, Imam Hussein. It is the night of Friday. It is the night of the ziyarat of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. May we all be given the ziyarat of Sayyid al-Shuhada. No day is like the day of our beheaded master, Imam Hussein. In Ziyarat al-Nahiya we read, Assalamu ala man dafanahu ahl al-qura. Peace and our salams to the one who the villagers buried him. For 3 days and 3 nights, the body of Imam Hussein alayhi salam lay in the deserts of Karbala, the wind blowing on his body, his beheaded and dismembered body. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Ya Allah, inshallah, accept our majalis and make us, inshallah, of those that give the ziyarat of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam and their understanding and their guidance. Inshallah, those that get their intercession in the hereafter. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذا الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا ودليلا وعينا وليا وحافظا وغائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنوا أرضك طوعا وتمتعوا فيها طويلا. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع له كل شيء وذللها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي بعد كل عسام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النغام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك واستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك وأن تزعني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع أن تصومني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضع. اللهم فأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعزم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عزم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غفرا ولا لقبائحي ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي وتجرعت بجهلي فسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترت وكم من فاضح من البلاء أغلت وكم من عثار وقيت وكم من مكروه دفعت وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرت. اللهم عظم بلائي وافرت بي سوء حالي وقصرت بي أعمالي وقعدت بي أغلالي وحبسني عن نفعي بعد أملي وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها ومثالي يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك الله يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا يفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري ولا تعجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا إلهي وربي من لي غيرك أسأل كشف ضري والنظر في أمري إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت في هوى نفسي ولم أحترس في من تبين عدوي فغرني بما أهوى فأسعده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدودك وخالفت بعض أوامرك فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاء بلزمني حكمك وبلاغ وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستغيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا معترفا لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتك إلهي اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شد وثاقي يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي يا من بدا خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتقضيتي هبني الابتداء كرمك وصالف برك بي يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد من طوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك واعتقده ضميري من حبك وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيت أو تبعد من أذنيت أو تشرد من آويت أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقا وبشكرك مادحا وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققا وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارح سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعة وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنة ما كذا الظن بك ولا خبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا رب يا كريم يا رب يا كريم يا رب وأنت تعلم ضعفي قليلا من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها ألا أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكثور يسير بغاء قصير مدته فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي لأي الأمور إليك أشكو بل ما من هذا الجوب أبكي لأليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته فلئن سيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائي وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك فهب لي يا إلهي و سیدی و مولای و ربی صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك وهبني يا إلهي صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر على النذر إلى كرامتك أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين الأرض ضجيج العاملين ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية آمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته وضاقت أعمادها بمعصيته وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته وهو يزج إليك زجيج مؤمل لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمه أم كيف تعلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يحرق لهيبه وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه أم كيف يشتمل عليه ذفيره وأنت تعلم ضعفه أم كيف يتقلقل بين أسبابه وأنت تعلم صدقه أم كيف تزجر زبانيته وهو يناديك يا رب أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبع لما عملت بالموحدين من برك وإحسانك، فباليقين اقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحدي، وقضيت به من إخلاد مولدي، لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما، فما كانت لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما، لكنك تقدست أسماؤك، أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، أن تخلد فيها المعاندين، وأن تجل ثناؤك قلت مبتدعا، وتتولت بالإنعام متكرما، أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها، أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملته كتمت أو أعلنت أخفيت أو أظهرت وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي، وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيت وبفضلك سترت، وأن توفر عدي من كل خير تنزله أو إحسان فضلت أو بر تنشره أو رزق تبسطه أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك ربي، يا من بيده ناصيتي، يا عليما بذري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي، يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورا وبخدمتك موصولا وأعمالي عندك مقبولا حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها بردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا يا سيدي يا من عليه مؤبلي يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب ربنا خدمتك جوارحي واشتد على العظيمة جوانحي وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في الباردين واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين وأدنو منك أدنو المخلصين وخوفك مخافة الموقنين واجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد ومن كادني فكد واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نسيبا عندك وأقرب منزلة منك وخصم ذلفة لديك فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك وجد لي بجودك واعطف علي بمجدك واحفظني برحمتك واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك متيما ومن علي بحسن جوابتك فاقلني عثرتي واغفر ذلتي فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك فأمرتهم بدعائك وزمنت لهم الإجابة فإليك يا رب نسبت وجهي وإليك يا رب مددت يدي وبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني مناي ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء فإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته قناع ارحم من رأس مال الرجاء وصلاح البكاء يا سابق النعم يا دافع النقم يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات تابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات اللهم مجيب الدعوات وغافر الخطيئات برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد.